Hey, what's up people? Okay, so if, like me, you own an old, well, not an old garage, but the concrete floor is quite old, you probably would have realised that despite how much you brush it and sweep it, dust keeps coming up and everything seems to get coated in a sort of thin film of dust. That's your old concrete floor, and the way you remedy that is by putting a sealer on it, which I've just done. So let me turn you around. So this is what I've just applied. Loads of different people do it. I was just in B&Q and I saw it there, and I needed to do it, so I just got it done. 5 litres I have used, as you can see, just under half. So that covered. It's pure white when it goes down. It's like looks like milk basically, but as you can see, I've literally just done it. And you can see it's starting to dry. Where it goes clear, that's where it's starting to dry. So apparently after 4 hours you're okay to walk on it. After 24 hours you're okay to park your car or your bike on it. So there you go. So I will show you that when it's all dry. It should leave a slightly not a gloss finish to it, but a bit more of a shine to it. So I'll show you that when it's all dried out. Alright, lovely. One thing I forgot to mention, if you're going to seal your floor, your concrete floor, make sure you wash it about a week before, so it gives a good couple of days for it to properly dry out. Degrease it like I have done already, you've seen me do that. But today I had to sweep up some of the residue that was in there and hoover it. Let me tell you something. The looks you get when hoovering a concrete floor, special. Alright, so it's been about a week now since we've applied this, and as you can see, it's now completely hardened, and you get left with a sort of nice sheen on your floor, and all the bits where there's big sort of not holes, but where it's a little bit rough, all those areas in there are rock solid. So yeah, I'm really pleased with the result of that. It gives it a really nice look, and it's not dusty anymore. There's no dust on it at all, nothing. Really nice. Cool. Alright guys, so I've got a few more things to show you. First of all, I've fitted this security light, solar powered. Light goes down, that's a movement sensor there, lights come on. Let me see if I can show that to you. Let's see, put my glove over it. So it should come on. Yeah, there you go. So I'll leave the link for that on Amazon. It's only like 12 quid or something. So it's just an extra bit of security there, and it looks nice. So inside, floor still looking good. But here, check it out. Put the first coat on, sanded it all down. Actually, I was using the Ryobi battery operated orbital sander, and it was working fine, but it was just taking forever. So I went and bought this beast, a belt sander by Alba. This is mains powered, I think it's 950 watts. So I've been asked, as there's a chap I follow on YouTube called Bruce City Rider, top bloke, lives out in the US, Wisconsin I believe, and he was challenged by a YouTuber to do the 3 R's challenge, and like him, I didn't even know what it was, but apparently the 3 R's challenge is you have to give 3 reasons why you chose the bike you chose, why you ride the bike that you ride. So, Bruce City Rider, challenge accepted, let's do it. Mind your head. Oh. One of the reasons I love adventure bikes in general, not necessarily this one, but I do love this one obviously, is that because of my height, being 6'3", which isn't massively tall, it's a bit taller than average, I find smaller bikes, i.e. sports bikes, a little bit too cramped and not comfortable for long journeys. And I like doing long journeys, you know, that's my thing about riding bikes, kind of do a good couple of 100 miles. And the closest I've ever had to a sports bike is the Hayabusa, which is more a sort of sports tourer. It's got a massive long wheelbase and it's a bit more upright, but even that was quite brutal on the arms. So reason number one, adventure bikes, just for the sheer comfort and the way that you can kind of stretch your limbs out and just ride for hours and hours and hours on end. And also the fact that you can chuck loads of gear on them, just tank bags, dry bags, panniers. You can, I mean, you know, they're called adventure bikes for a reason. So that's one of the reasons. The other one, why this particular one, the Triumph, there is something about Triumph that is sort of adored the world over, much in the same way that these heritage brands are loved. Harley Davidson, Triumph, Norton, all these kind of old sort of brands that have been sort of turn of the last century, Indian. There's something about them, and the fact that Triumph are doing so well with their bikes at the moment, it really kind of, it's such good news. It's great news for the industry, and it's just getting people out there and interested in it, you know. I mean, people might argue that the sort of heritage stuff is a bit kind of hipstery, and yeah, it is, and I guess it attracts a certain audience, but I don't care, you know. It gets people out on the road, it gets people out on the bike. I'd rather have another hipster on the road than another car any day of the week. So, you know, I'm all for that. So the Triumph brand is special. It's one of those, there's very few brands that have that history in any sort of aspect of life, not just motorcycles. Been going for that long, they've got so much history, and you can see they're proud of it. They've got pictures in their showrooms of obviously the classic one is Steve McQueen riding it. There's a picture of Elvis Presley in the showroom riding a Triumph, Clint Eastwood riding a Triumph in one of the Dirty Harry films. So reason number two is Triumph, they're just a cool brand, and they know it, and they milk it, and they're doing well out of it, so good for them. So that's reason number two. Reason number three, why this particular bike, why the Triumph Tiger Explorer 1200? Well, the 1200, since I got my first big bike, which was the VMAX, which was also a 1200, I've never gone, apart from 1150 GS, I've never gone below 1200 cc's. I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. I just love the feel of that big power. When you give it some of that, look at that! Whoa now! Yeah, it's just that grunt, that deep down grunt that you just don't get with a 600 or 750. They're all sort of mid-range top end. This is all off the mark, deep down acceleration, lovely mid-range. Yeah, it hasn't got a top speed, you know, which is anything special, but I don't really care about that. You can't go over 70 miles an hour anyway, so what's the point? So yeah, and also one of the biggest selling bikes throughout the world is the BMW GS, and for good reason. It's been years and years and years in development. They hone and hone it every single year. It gets better and better, and the thing is, it's very popular. It is very, very popular, and you are guaranteed to see one when you go out on the road. Whereas the Explorer, yeah, some might say that Triumph kind of jumped on the bandwagon a bit there, but you know, it's got a style that's unique to it. I think it's kind of got that kind of angular, kind of stealth fighter looking kind of vibe about it. The tank, I love the tank. And one thing that the BMW doesn't have is the triple engine. The triple engine has got that lovely kind of burble. It's got a lovely pop on the exhaust when you decelerate. It's just got so much character. And this particular bike, which I've mentioned before, is one of the best handling motorcycles I've ever owned. Even though it's one of the biggest as well. It's the biggest bike I've ever owned. Well, probably not as big as the 1150 GS, but it's a massive bike. But it handles so well. It's so confidence inspiring. And you know, it's been out since 2012. This is a launch model. So yeah, the ride of it, the sound of it, the character of it, that is the third reason. So there you go. That is the challenge done, accepted and done. So I'm going to give a shout out to, let's see now, a guy I've been following for since the beginning, years and years. Bikerbits, based out in Bendigo, Australia. Mark, he's a top bloke. He's got a great channel. I'll leave you a link there. Mark, I want to hear why you love your Suzuki DR650 so much. Old Max there. I want to know why. 3 reasons you love that bike so much and why you've had it for as long as you have. Alright mate, that's my challenge to you. Accept it if you will. I look forward to hearing from it because I love the bike, everything you've done to it. And alright, I'll see you all very soon. Take it easy guys. Adios. See you later on. Bye.